Tonight on CTV News at 5.
Sometimes I just find that I don't really have time.
Take a break. Working through lunch could be holding you back.
Any money that we do raise here today goes right back into the community.
Battle of the Badges. Fredericton police and firefighters go head-to-head on the Diamond.
They've sung at many community events. They sang for Pope John Paul II.
And nearly a century of song, the only Polish language choir in Atlantic Canada hits a high note.
With high pressure moving in from the west, it's clear conditions tonight, leading into a sunny Tuesday.
Live from the Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 5.
Good evening and welcome to CTV News at 5. I'm Maria Penopalis. Thanks for joining us. First at 5 tonight, something to chew on. If you think skipping lunch or dining at your desk gives you an edge at work, think again. A new study suggests ditching your midday break could be making you less productive. As CTV's Vanessa Wright reports, stepping away from your work may be the best thing you do all day. Hi, Vanessa.
Hey, Maria, that's right. And while benefits of having a lunch break may seem obvious, a whopping amount of Canadians skip it more often than you'd think.
A new study suggests the Canadian lunch is disappearing, as survey results from Factor Canada show 61% of Canadians skip their lunch break altogether.
Today I skipped my lunch, so it happens. I'm not shocked at all. I can't believe it's a higher percentage.
Not entirely skipping lunch. It's sort of like I eat it on the fly, in the elevator, standing up. I never sit for lunch at work.
Sometimes I just find that I don't really have time.
Experts say it's all based on one misconception.
People will skip lunch thinking that you're going to get that little bit more productivity out of yourself. But really, it sets you up for less productivity throughout the day. Your energy levels go lower. Maybe you can't think quite so clearly.
And for those who do take a lunch, the studies show 2 in 5 eat it at their desk. But that doesn't necessarily count.
An even better step is to get away from the desk. Go for a walk, see other people, maybe get some fresh air while you're having that really balanced meal.
Still, many agree a lunch break is a chance to refuel and recharge. 38% of respondents who took a true lunch break said it reduced stress, 25% say it fostered stronger connections, and 24% say it powered afternoon productivity.
Just to continue, sit down at your desk at 9 o'clock, not move until 4 o'clock. Sometimes you have to if you have a lot of work, but on a regular basis, no, just stopping and eating, or eating with friends and discussing work or pleasure or games and stuff. That is very important for your overall health, I think.
But there are ways to avoid skipping a lunch, like meal prepping if you have to eat it at your desk.
Another thing we'll talk about is if you have a little bar fridge at work, what are some things that you can stock it with so that on those days when it was just too much to make sure that you had a balanced meal for the day, that you have options. There isn't really an excuse.
And Maria, what's interesting is that the people I spoke with today admitted that having breakfast makes them feel better about skipping lunch. But while breakfast is always a good idea, that nurse practitioner says it's not a replacement for the midday meal that we need to keep us going. Maria?
Okay, I'm going to commit that to memory. Thanks, Vanessa.
Same.
CTV's Vanessa Wright for us in the news center this evening. That actually brings us to tonight's web poll. We are asking, how often do you take a lunch break at work? Your options are simple. All the time. Most of the time. And your final option, rarely. Go to ctvnewsatlantic.ca to weigh in and to see the latest poll results. All right, let's head over to the anchor desk where Todd Battis is standing by with a look at the headlines. Hi there, Todd.
Hi there, Maria. Happy Monday. Halifax police are hunting for a suspect or suspects responsible for spray painting violent messages and symbols on several synagogues in the city. Police are calling the incidents hate crimes. The mayor says people have a right to worship in peace. We will have the very latest at the top of 6. A fire in the Halifax area in an apartment building forced about 300 people to leave their homes this morning. Flames erupted through the roof. This is obviously video of something else. Here we go. This is the fire in Middle Sackville overnight. 300 people now looking for somewhere to live. The building was badly damaged. We understand it began in the roof. We will have a full report coming up at 6 o'clock. Now, there are calls tonight for New Brunswick's government to sign a pharmacare deal with Ottawa, similar to what other provinces have. The Health Coalition says there are too many holes in the current system and it leaves too many people behind. We will have details for you at 6. Right now, Kaylin Mitchell in the Weather Center with what was, for many Maritimers, Kaylin, a summer day through and through.
Yeah, it sure was. I mean, the average high temperature this far into September, and we're halfway through the month now, is mostly around the high teens for the Maritimes. So we were there and above across the region today, as a lot of high temperatures actually made it up into the low 20s. And temperatures will actually step up another couple of degrees in the forecast for tomorrow. So if you're stepping outside, heading into the early evening, you're stepping out to temperatures right now that are around 19 degrees for Prince Edward Island and mostly in the low 20s for New Brunswick and for large areas of Nova Scotia, except a few parts of the east of that province, around 18, 19 degrees, including 19 at Sydney. Dew point temperatures, measure of moisture in the air, mostly mid to high single digits. That represents some relatively dry air in place around the Maritimes. So for most areas, relative humidity was running between around 30 and 55%. It was a little bit higher around Prince Edward Island, eastern areas of Nova Scotia, where a bit of a northerly wind was bringing in some moisture off the Gulf of St. Lawrence in the form of some cloud cover, a little bit higher relative humidity. Looked like there might have been a couple of very spotty showers, but in general, very much looking for more rain here in the Maritimes. So winds for the first part of this evening, mostly out of the north, a little bit on the breezy side around parts of Cape Breton and Canso right now as well, was reporting a sustained wind near 30 kilometers per hour, but not a lot to show you over on radar and satellite. The few clouds that are around eastern parts of the region, those are in the process of clearing up. It is high pressure moving in from the west. Lots of sunshine tomorrow. Details of that coming up later on. Maria.
Thank you, Kaylin. We will see you a little later on. Right now, though, if you've walked along St. John's Harbour this summer, you may have noticed a new but familiar addition to the shoreline. As CTV's Avery McRae shows us, after a decades-long process, a replica of the Marco Polo clipper ship has dropped anchor and returned home.
Along the same shores where it first entered the Atlantic Ocean, New Brunswick's most famous ship has returned to the St. John Harbor.
We have fabulous history in St. John.
Originally built and launched in 1851 by James Smith, the nationally historic clipper ship drew international attention to New Brunswick shipyards. That's because a year after hitting the waters, the vessel became the first to complete a round trip between England and Australia in under 6 months, earning it the title as the fastest ship in the world. City Councillor Barry Ogden began raising funds to build the one-third size replica ship 40 years ago before entering local office.
I think we raised, about, counting the film and all the design work we did first, about $3.1 million. So we're only about 100,000 short to do the rigging and a couple other things we want to do.
It's a process Ogden is in no rush for, with the mast only being erected this week. The reason behind the Passion Project?
We are trying to create pride. We built the 3rd largest fleet in the world, and this is what's the fastest ship in the world.
We want to have unique things celebrating our heritage and our history. And just from the sheer tourism point of view, it's another thing or a place that tourists can visit as well.
Local historian Greg Marquis says even years after it first launched, the historic vessel is still a source of pride along the province's southern shores.
It became a workhorse of ocean-going transportation. And that is the story of St. John and other ports like St. John.
The real Marco Polo never returned to the port city. It wrecked off the shores of Cavendish, PEI in the late 1800s. But the story of its smaller scale version is just setting sail. Avery McRae, CTV News, St. John.
Thank you, Avery. Time for our first break here on CTV News at 5. When we come back, though, we've got some high-speed fun for you.
I saw them going around the track. I was like, that looks fun. I want to do that.
Lawn tractor racers mow down the competition for a good cause. We're on the cutting edge next.
Empower your menopause journey at the first ever Atlantic Menopause Show, October 17th in Halifax, with keynote speaker Dr. Adele Piper, plus the latest in research, treatments, and more. For tickets, visit atlmenopauseshow.ca.
Welcome back. Engines were revving and tires were spinning on Prince Edward Island over the weekend. Maria Saru takes us to the track for the annual lawn tractor race.
A green light and they're off for turn 1. Drivers kicking up red dirt, racing on lawn tractors.
It's like basically a low dollar NASCAR. We call it grass car.
Jeff Wilson, director at the PEI Lawn Tractor Racing Club, says regular mowers might move at 7 kilometers an hour, a far cry from these speeds. These tractors are modified to hit 85 kilometers for the club's top division. The brakes and steering are enhanced too.
I love it. Love it. We race with the grandkids and it's a family affair.
Starting at 6 years old, children can race as well at lower horsepower.
I saw them going around the track. I was like, that looks fun. I want to do that.
Friendships have formed around this track.
You can make new friends and you can just have fun.
These machines may have small engines, but racing them has a big impact. The PEI Lawn Tractor Racing Club has donated more than $10,000 to local charities, including the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
It helps other people, like kids that need stuff, like clothes and stuff.
Most of the donations come from ticket sales, and the stands are packed.
We had no idea where it would go, but it's amazing.
Racing grass cutters is a low-cost way to break into the hobby.
The problem with car racing today is that it's become so unaffordable for everybody, and this is just wonderful.
A way to keep family fun alive on a backyard budget, all while giving back in a big way. Maria Saru, CTV News, St. Peter's Bay, Prince Edward Island.
The need for speed.
It's the grass and the furious.
Yes. Excellent. They had a great weekend for racing.
Yeah, they sure did. I mean, at least the lawn tractors are being used for something nowadays because they have been used to cut a lot of grass lately with their dry conditions. And the weekend's weather didn't do a whole lot to alleviate that around many parts of the Maritimes. And today we saw plenty of sunshine. Looking out here in Whitney Pier, top of Church Street, a few fair weather clouds there over the horizon. More in the forecast after the break.
Hundreds participated in the 45th annual Terry Fox Run at Point Pleasant Park in Halifax on Sunday. Since the first Marathon of Hope in 1980, the Terry Fox Foundation has raised over $950 million for cancer research. This Sunday, up to 10,000 are expected to participate in the Terry Fox Run when it returns to Confederation Bridge for the first time since 2015. Kaylin, a beautiful weekend in Halifax and across the country as well, where the Terry Fox Run took place, and we are keeping our fingers crossed that conditions will be favorable on Sunday for the Confederation Bridge Run.
Yeah, and right now, as things currently stand in the extended forecast, it does look like it is going to be very favorable for the runs coming up this weekend because it looks like high pressure is going to be back in place for the Maritime region. Let's take a look at our sunrise and sunset times. We'll get back to our forecast in a moment. We're looking out here at Halifax and 5,000 cruise ship passengers into port for today, and just a few fair weather clouds, a little bit of a breeze. That's about it. Sun rising 6:52 to 7:06 a.m. for the provincial capitals, and setting 7:21 to 7:35 p.m. All right, let's take a look at what's going on our weather systems map. Barometric pressure already back towards the higher side, sitting above 1,020 millibars. Fredericton, Charlottetown, and Halifax. The reason for that is our weather maker over the next couple of days is going to be this area of high pressure that's building in from the west of us. It's keeping a low pressure system and mostly associated cloud cover and rain with it to our south, mostly around parts of the eastern United States. Taking a look at things on radar, not a lot to show you with the few cumulus clouds that did develop and move in off the Gulf of St. Lawrence. There may have been a couple very spotty showers around eastern areas of Nova Scotia, eastern Prince Edward Island for today. Even that, though, is clearing up. And for the remainder of the night, it is expected to be a mainly clear sky, maybe with a little bit of patchy fog developing during the overnight hours. Any fog patches that do develop, though, will be dissipating moving through Tuesday morning. And with that area of high pressure directly in place over the region, it is going to be a very clear day. So lots of sunshine into and through Tuesday afternoon, looking quite clear for Tuesday evening and Tuesday night. And then finally on Wednesday, we start to see a little bit of high cloud cover begin to increase from the south of us. That's off of that low pressure system that again is stalled out around the eastern seaboard of the United States by that high pressure system that is sitting over top of us here, kind of blocking its progress up towards the north. Taking a look at winds in the forecast for tomorrow, a little bit variable in direction around the Maritimes. Maritimes. As we move into and through Tuesday afternoon, the wind becomes southwest for both New Brunswick and western areas of Nova Scotia, relatively light, 10 to 20 kilometers per hour. And then all the way through the afternoon, the wind remains mostly out of the northeast for both Prince Edward Island and eastern areas of Nova Scotia. But again, mostly on the lighter side, sustained 10 to 20, a few gusts getting up between 20 and 30. Low temperatures in the forecast for tonight. Most of the lows, high single digits and low teens. Very seasonable for this time of the year. A little bit cooler for some western areas of New Brunswick, where some of the low temperatures could fall between 5 and 8 degrees. In the forecast for tomorrow, high temperatures in New Brunswick, mostly between 23 and 26, so close to 22 for Grand Manan. 18 to 22 degrees, the high temperatures for Prince Edward Island for tomorrow, including 21 at Charlottetown. And for Nova Scotia, in the forecast for tomorrow, most of the high temperatures in the low 20s, 21 to 24 degrees, mid-20s possible around the south shore of the province, including 25 for Shelburne. Taking a look at the forecast for Wednesday. So there it is, this area of high pressure sitting across the Maritimes, blocking that low pressure system to the south. We just see that little bit of increasing cloudiness throughout the day. Most of that will be thin, high cloud cover. And temperatures, again, a little bit warmer away from coastal areas, coming up towards the mid to high 20s. And that is above average for the middle of September. And directly on parts of the coast, high temperatures closer to the low 20s. All right, let's take a look at our weather watcher for tonight. And tonight's weather watcher is coming in from a student at Hillside Elementary. And they have sent us a painting of a storm cloud. Thank you. It's a great job. And weather watchers can come into CTV Weather Watchers, P.O. Box 1653, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3J2Z4. Or you can email me at kaylin.mitchell@bellmedia.ca. Maria.
Thank you, Kaylin. So emergency personnel in the Elm City found themselves in a different type of uniform on Sunday. As CTV's Ava McRae shows us, Fredericton police officers and firefighters went head-to-head for a good cause.
The baseball diamond is not the typical setting you would find Fredericton's finest hard at work.
It's nice to get both departments together and see each other in this setting and have fun and maybe a little bit of chirping and just kind of get to know each other.
The Battle of the Badges saw the fierce rivalry between Fredericton's fire department and police force reignite in a 9-inning head-to-head showdown on the diamond.
It's good to be able to play a sport like this and be competitive at the end of the day. Like, we both know that we have each other's backs.
The annual game between the two departments saw plenty of community support for both sides. Not only did the game offer people a chance to see emergency personnel in a more relaxed setting, it also served as a fundraiser for kids' sports.
A lot of first responders are very active people. They play a lot of sports themselves and have kids themselves and know the costs and to play the sports for kids. And Jumpstart helps kids overcome the cost barrier of sport.
Any money that we do raise here today goes right back into the community to help that barrier for kids to be able to play sports. So that's a huge part of why we do this.
Since 2005, Jumpstart has helped more than 4 million children nationwide play their favorite sports.
Everybody should have a chance to play sports or do whatever. Them donating all this money, it'll just make smiles on kids' faces for sure.
After 9 innings, it's the fire department that gets to boast bragging rights with a 24-19 win. But at the end of the day,
it's the community that wins.
Avery McRae, CTV News, Fredericton.
Thank you, Avery, and thanks, everybody. All right, we're going to take a break here, but first, here's a preview of our next story.
I'm Ryan McDonald outside the Polish church in Whitney Pier, where tonight we'll hear from the only Polish choir in Atlantic Canada. One that even sang for Pope John Paul during his visit to Halifax more than 40 years ago. The story is coming up.
Start your morning with us for what you need to start your day. News, weather, and even a little fun. Your Morning Atlantic with Amanda Devison, Crystal Garrett, and Latavia Beezer. Weekdays from 6 to 9 on CTV2 and ctvatlantic.ca.
Mornings with Aaron and Peter. Dream big with Move. We could be calling you with $20,000 tomorrow morning at 8.
And there's a lot more where that came from. Keyword starting at 6 a.m. weekdays.
Welcome back. So more than 40 years ago, they sang for Pope John Paul II during his visit to Halifax. And as CTV's Ryan McDonald shows us now, a Polish choir in Cape Breton is being honored as part of Nova Scotia Polish Heritage Month.
Nowy zacznie dziś
It's the only Polish language choir in Atlantic Canada, and Rita Zubak-McDonald started singing in it when she was a child more than 8 decades ago.
That was a long time ago. I'm 92 now.
They've sung at many community events. They sang for Pope John Paul II.
Indeed, the choir from St. Mary's Polish Parish in Whitney Pier performed for the Pope during his visit to Halifax this month 41 years ago.
Oh my goodness, that was a real honor to sing for him. There was quite a big crowd then, a lot more of us, but it was just an honor, and we sang our hearts out.
Ever since I came to Canada in September 12, 1972.
Nearly 53 years to the day from when she emigrated from Poland, Ursula Melski was still singing in this choir on Saturday during an open house at the church in Whitney Pier. As for why she joined in the first place back then,
when you come to other country, you look for something that is familiar that you leave behind.
The choir is also this year's featured artist for Nova Scotia Polish Heritage Month.
The choir has played an enormous role in keeping the language alive, in keeping many of the traditions alive.
And in a room full of 3rd, 4th, and 5th generation Polish Canadians, it means a lot to pass on the songs and language to the next generation.
They sang with Men of the Deeps. They even had working men sung in Polish. So this choir is an institution.
Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Whitney Pier, Nova Scotia.
An institution and an inspiration. Congratulations. Keep on singing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, amazing voices.
Yes, lovely to hear. Lovely to hear your voice giving us good weather news.
Yeah, I'd be singing the praises of this forecast if we could just get a little bit more rain in it. Yeah, taking a look at the extended forecast. If you're looking for sunshine this week, there is plenty of that, but the prospects for rain, pretty low, not zero, but pretty low, and I'll have more on that coming up later on CTV News at 6.
Of course, we'll see you and Todd Battis and Katie Kelly at 6 o'clock. I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have yourselves a lovely evening. Same time, same place tomorrow. The national news is next.